Hello, everyone. Throughout history, humans have always been fascinated by space and astronomy. We've been exploring planets, moons, and stars, launching missions to faraway celestial bodies. But here's the strange part. While we've always been so obsessed with exploring distant places, no one really thought to investigate a place that's incredibly close to us, just a few dozen kilometers away. To reach it, all we have to do is simply stop looking up and start looking down. Welcome to Radiant Wisdom. If this is your first time here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you won't miss any of our inspiring videos and ideas. We all say the Earth's interior is hot and full of lava, but have you ever asked yourself, how do we even know that? How did we find out that the Earth's core is so hot? Even more puzzling is how geologists describe the Earth's internal structure so accurately. Inner core, outer core, crust, and so on. So, how did they figure all that out? Did someone actually take a trip to the Earth's core and then come back to tell the story of what they saw down there? How does this all work? The story actually begins with the physicist Lord Kelvin, famous for the Kelvin temperature scale. Back in the Middle Ages, miners noticed that the deeper they dug into the earth, the hotter it got. They began to sweat and overheat the further down they went. Nobody really understood why, until Lord Kelvin came forward and said, "Look, folks, here's what I think. Once upon a time, the earth was extremely hot, like unimaginably hot. Maybe it was one giant fiery ball. Over time, it started to cool down. The outer layers cooled first, but the Earth's interior stayed incredibly hot. That heat occasionally rises to the upper layers, so the closer you get to the core, the hotter it gets. The further away you go, the cooler it gets." Of course, back then, people were like, "What are you talking about, man? We don't get it." But what Kelvin was trying to explain was that the Earth was once extremely hot when it first formed. Its core still holds that intense heat because of its rocky structure and surrounding layers. At the time, these were just theories and hypotheses. But later on, science confirmed that the Earth's interior truly is on fire. So, did the story end there with Kelvin? Did we just take his word for it and call it a day? Actually, no. There were many attempts to dig deeper. Literally. One of the most famous was in 1970, when the Soviet Union launched one of the strangest drilling experiments in human history. Back in 1965, a group of Soviet researchers proposed digging a super deep borehole to reach the farthest depths of the Earth. Through this borehole, they aimed to study the Earth's lower layers and understand exactly what lies beneath our feet. They selected a drilling site in the Russian city of Zapolyarny, and after several years of preparation, they began digging what would later be called the Kola Super Deep Borehole. At first, everything went smoothly, and through the Kola borehole, the Soviets made some incredible discoveries. They found gold and diamond-rich mines buried deep underground. They also discovered massive amounts of methane gas at incredible depths that were previously believed to contain no biological material whatsoever. This discovery made oil and gas companies rethink their drilling strategies entirely. And that's not all. The Soviets gathered a mountain of geological data about the Earth's subsurface. The project was going great until something strange happened. In 1989, the Soviets suddenly announced they were stopping the drilling without any clear explanation. By then, they had reached over 12,000 meters deep. Then in 1992, they officially canceled the entire project and even sealed up the borehole they had worked on for all those years. The officials claimed they stopped due to lack of funding, and because they had discovered something unexpected, the temperature at that depth was far higher than they had calculated. They had expected a max of 100 degrees Celsius, but the actual temperature exceeded 300 degrees Celsius. And just like that, the project was shut down. No further updates were ever given, but the public wasn't satisfied. Rumors and urban legends began to spread. Some said the project was halted because the Soviets encountered strange creatures inside the Earth. Others claimed that the borehole was a gateway to another world, a door that could unleash beings from the underworld into ours. In the end, the Kola Super Deep Borehole remains the deepest point humans have ever reached through drilling. But here's what's truly astonishing. Even at a depth of 12 kilometers, it's barely a scratch on the Earth's surface. For comparison, the Earth's radius is about 6,371 kilometers. That's why many researchers consider the Kola borehole nothing more than a shallow scrape on the outer crust. The information we gain from it, while valuable, is nowhere near enough to truly understand Earth's interior. To learn more, we'll need to dig much, much deeper. In sci-fi films, you often see humans traveling deep into the Earth, sometimes even reaching the inner core, staring at flowing lava with their own eyes. So the question is, can we actually do that in real life? Well, we think we can, but it's not easy. It's actually extremely difficult. Some scientists have suggested launching a shuttle toward Earth's core, just like how NASA sends probes to planets and moons. They argue that instead of pouring all our energy into exploring space, we should focus more on the planet we live on. From their point of view, the journey would begin by digging a hole with a suitable diameter into which a constant flow of molten iron would be poured under high pressure. This molten iron would carve its way downward, leaving behind a hollow path. Then metallic equipment could be sent down this path, creating a permanent passage between Earth's surface and its depths. Sounds simple in theory. In reality, it's extremely complex. Now you might be thinking, what's the point of all this? Why send a shuttle? Why dig a giant hole? What's the benefit? Well, it's actually very useful. Think with me for a moment. What's the biggest crisis of our time? A crisis that's ongoing and likely to get even worse in the coming years? The answer is simple. The energy crisis. Energy is the backbone of everything around us, and Earth's interior is directly linked to all the energy sources we rely on: oil, natural gas, radioactive minerals, and more. But that's still not the main point. There's another energy source beneath our feet, completely different from the conventional ones. That source is the Earth's internal heat. This internal heat is a clean, renewable energy source that exists in massive quantities. All we need is the right technology to harness it properly. If scientists manage to tap into this heat to generate energy, we could end up with a sustainable energy source that would last for tens of thousands, maybe even millions of years. And by the way, we don't even need to reach the Earth's core to benefit from it. We just need to reach a depth where the heat is strong enough to generate power. In that case, studying the Earth's deeper layers won't just be interesting, it might actually help transform the entire planet into a better place to live. That's it for now. Who made it this far? If you did, you're a legend. Give us a like before you go, so we know how many of you made it to the end. And don't forget, if there's a question that keeps you up at night, drop it in the comments below the video. We'll be answering it soon. See you in the next video.